Hello, welcome to Coding Keywords live session. My name is Dr. Achonu, and today we're going to continue our Introduction to Excel course, and we are on Module 6. 6 is about data organization. So we're going to see tables, sorting, filtering, data validation, conditional formatting, and this is a very important module in learning Excel. So the benefits of going through this course is that you'll be able to understand our data analysis, data automation, lessons, videos much better when you know the basics of Excel. Excel is very important for professional work. Welcome once again. So I'm going to go straight to share my screen, and I want you to like this video. I also want you to share so that other people get to learn as well. Also drop a comment. So let us know, what you've learned, and also put any questions you have, our suggestions on what we should focus on. So this is a 10 module course, and so far we have looked at important aspects. We did introduction to the Excel interface, and then we moved on to data entry, and next we moved on to basic formatting, and then we did calculations, and then we kind of extended that module a bit. So we did the basic calculations, and then the last time we did cell referencing in Excel. So today we're going to look at data organization. All right, so I'm going to start with a recap. So like I said, we looked at cell references the last time, relative references, absolute references, mixed referencing, and we saw how cell references are very important when it comes to working with formulas and functions in Excel. So now we're going to look at table organization. So we're going to see how to organize our data, having brought in our data in data entry, and having mastered how to do formatting in basic data formatting, and having also looked at how to do basic calculations in the calculations and referencing section. We're now going to see how to organize our data, and this is very important because this is like the critical or important initial steps when we're doing data analysis. So I had done worked with Excel for a while. When I started doing data analysis, I began to understand the importance of tables. Tables are very important. Okay, so some of the rules for good data structure are one header row. So we should have a header row, then one type of data per column. Okay, so one type of data per column. So a column should have categories of our data, and consistent formats. Our formats should be consistent. Remember, we saw the importance of formats. Check our previous videos to learn about the important considerations in Excel: the formats, the style, um, the, the cell address, the contents, all the important aspects of handling data in Excel. And then no merge cells. Remember, in our previous video, we saw the importance of not merging our cells across our table data, because that introduces inconsistencies and it makes it difficult to work. All right, so sorting, filtering, pivot tables analysis. When you have a poor structure, then your sorting, your filtering, your pivot tables, your analysis, everything will be affected. So if you want to do good data analysis, your table organization has to be spot on. You have to have good structure, and that's what we're going to look at in today's module. All right, so we're going to see how to create and use Excel tables. We can convert a range to a table. We're going to see how to do that. So let me just go over and pick our first data set. So this is our first data set, and I'm going to copy it as usual and bring it to the lesson and put it at the side here. So remember, this is how I do my classes. So I have my presentation here in Excel, and I also have the practice here in Excel. So we're not moving out of here. We're doing everything here for ease and convenience. And that's one of the hallmarks of what we do at Coding Keywords. So we make learning of tech easy. We make it easy by presenting the best possible way for you to learn. And we have our keywords technique where we focus on the keywords so that you learn the most important things. Okay, so we've got our data here. So we've got our data set here. And so what we're going to do is first, I'm going to take off this title. I don't want it up there. So I'm just going to put it down here. So this is data set 6A because we're working on module 6, practicing in module 6. So here we've got our data sets. So the first thing we're going to do is to select the data sets. Select the data set and we are going to convert it to a table. So the table is a feature in Excel that helps us to organize our data. So once you've got your data, take advantage of the feature, what the table offers you by converting your data set into a table. Very important. So I select the entire range of my data set and I go over to, there are two ways you can do it. First, you can go to the Home tab and then you see this Format as Table and then you can select. That's one way. Another way to do it is to go to the Insert tab. So you see this Insert tab. Go to the Insert tab and then click on Table. Okay, and you can see the shortcut there, Control T. All right, so I do that. It's telling me the range selected, and also my table has headers. Remember, we said one header row, and then I click on OK, and this is the table. This is the table. You can see the difference. Maybe I'll just do Control Z. This is what it looks like, and then Control Y. Now, the initial things you'd observe here is the fact that the style has changed. The style has changed. You have better presentation, and then you have filters. Now let me do Control Z again. You see, study the headers, study the headers. Look at order ID, and I do Control Y, and then you can see filters. This is the filter. You see the filter, very important when it comes to analysis in Excel. All right, so Control T helps us to convert to table. Now we see the table headers, can see the table headers there, and we also saw the filters. Now, no blank rows or columns inside data, okay? So we shouldn't have blank rows or columns, and our data set meets that, okay? No empty rows or columns, okay? So we should have continuous, and then we have automatic expansion. These are some of the features of tables in terms of our styling, in terms of the way formulas are applied. We're going to see the benefits of tables. So we also have structured references, and then we also have automatic formatting, dynamic range, built-in filter. So you see the built-in filter there. Okay, so lots of features are provided for us as we're working with the table. Next up, we're going to see sorting. Okay, so before we go into sorting, let's explore some of the features in the table. Okay, so we've got our table here, and yeah, of course, we can work with the filters. We're going to look at filtering later, and then we can see the alternate row formatting helps us to track our rows, well, and then we can always, now what happens? Now, watch what happens. Watch the ribbon, and you see my last menu here is Power Pivot. The moment I click anywhere in the table, I have an additional menu, which is the table design tab. So when I click there, I have the table design tab. Okay, so let me make this always show the ribbon. Good. So I've got the table design tab whenever I'm within my table. And in the table design tab, I have all these features, all these commands for me. So I can have a total row column. So you see, I've got this total row column. I selected it and I have it here. And what happens is that I am able to have a row at the end of the table where I can have summaries of the statistics, especially for numeric columns. So this is a numeric column here, the unit price. And then coming over here, I can click on this cell here in the total row column. And then I have this drop down where I can different statistics of my numeric column. I can do the count. This tells me there are 6 items there. I can do the max. This gives me the max value there, which is here. And like we saw, I can get the sum, basic information. Let me come over to these units here, and then I can get the average. I can get all kinds of statistics. You have the variance, the standard deviation, and all of that. So this is provided by the table. So I'm just going to deselect this. That's the total row. So we have the first column. You see, I can make the first column highlighted by bolding it. I can make the last column I can make banded columns. So you can see we have the bands, just like we have our banded rows as well. We have the filter button, very, very useful. I can also change the style. So you see, I've got options here to change the style. And this is our table. Now, if I add a formula, say I come over here, let me just say I make this new column. So I have a new column there. So I've got the new column automatically, it's been added. And if in my new column, I'm going to do this, that's units column plus unit price, or let me say times the unit price. Now, coming over to the formula bar, you can see that I have a new representation in the formula. The formula is not just referencing the cell now, but it's going to be applied across the table. And I press equal to, and it's applied automatically across the table. So these are just some of the features, and we will do some aspects of data analysis, and we're going to work with tables a lot more. So I'm just going to do a quick check in the stream just to be sure everything is fine. Okay, and I'm back. All right. So now sorting. So sorting is one of the first type of operations we do when we're trying to organize our data. And let's look at our data here. So we can sort alphabetically for text, and then we can also sort numerically, whether in ascending order or descending order for numbers. Okay, so we do sorting. Yes, we can sort smallest to largest. We can sort dates as well. We can do multi-level sorting at different levels. So always select the entire data set before sorting. Very important. Select your entire data set before sorting, so that you're able to sort your data and still have the data integrity without losing anything or mixing of things. So it's very important. We should take note of that. And so we're going to sort by region. All right, so we're going to come over here and we want to sort by region, and that is this column here. So what I'm going to do is select the entire data set. So I'll select the entire data set, and then we go to the home tab, and then we come over here to sort and filter, and I'm going to do custom sort. So we've got sort smallest to largest, sort largest to smallest. I'm going to do custom sort because I'm going to have to select the column, and in this case is region. So I'm going to this sort by drop down and choose region, and I'm going to sort from A to Z, and that's in alphabetical order. And there you go. So let me do Control Z. This is what we had: Europe, Asia, Americas. And then when I do my sorting region, what I have now is Americas first, and then Asia next, and then Europe. And then if you observe very well, so let me zoom in. If you observe very well, you would see an indicator here on this region showing that it has, the sorting has been applied based on this column. Okay, so you see the others are just filters, and over here you can see an indication there. All right, so that's how to do a simple sort data. The sorting is very important. Many times when we sort our data, we're able to do our analysis better because it's organized. We can easily search and find what we're looking for better when we arrange it either in ascending order or descending order. So now we're also going to next up sort by the order date. So we sorted by the region. Now we're going to sort by the order date within the region. Okay, so what's going to happen is here we have Asia, and then the other dates we have 15th of January, 18th of January. That's already sorted. Europe, we have 12th of January, 18th of January, 25th. It's already sorted. Okay, so now let me mix things up a bit. So assuming in Europe, I had let's say 31st of January, and then 18th, and then 25th. Now let's see what happens. I've already sorted by the region. Now let's see what happens when next I sort by the other dates. So I'm going to come over here, do my custom sort again, and then other dates, and then I'm going to do from oldest to newest, and then sorry. So I'm just going to close this, come up back here again, custom sorts, and then I'm going to add another level. Remember, I've sorted by the region. Now I first sorted by the region. I now want to sort by the other dates after the region. So I need to add another level. And then I'm going to select other dates. And then I'm going to sort from oldest to newest. Now, watch, I shouldn't have 31st of January before 18th. So let's see what happens. I click OK, and there you go. So I've got 18th, 25th, 31st. So I first sorted by region, and then I sorted by the other date. So that's like two levels of sorting. Very important. Okay, so let me go to the next. Now, identify the earliest order per region. Okay, the earliest order per region. So we got 22nd of January 2024 for Americas. Okay, so these are data set is global sales records. Okay, so I'm going to move over to the next lesson, and then we're going to look at the auto filter. Now, the auto filter is one of the most powerful features when it comes to data analysis. Filtering, what is, okay, sorting has to do with arranging. Okay, so you've got items and then you want to arrange them in a particular order. You still have those items. That is sorting. When it comes to filtering, what you're trying to do is to extract a certain portion of your data. So it's like cutting out a portion of your data. So whereas sorting is arranging, filtering is extracting something of interest within your data. So you've got maybe a data that has to do with people, and then you want to extract the males. That means you just want to bring out the males, and then you want to sieve out the females. Okay, so that is filtering. So we've got an auto filter here. And what happens is that the filter shows you the categories within your data. So let's look at the region column here. And then I just click on this drop down here, and I have the filter that shows me the categories. Okay, so if I only want Europe, I'm going to deselect all and then just select Europe. And there you go. I've been able to extract what is of interest to me. In this case, just the data sets with the value of Europe in the region column. Okay, so I've applied a filter, and then you can see it has changed. You see, this is just a column in our table. This is a column that is sorted. We can see the difference. And then this is a column that is both sorted and filter applied. We can see that. Okay, so if we look over here at our rows, we see that we have row 1, then row 2 to 4 has been removed based on our filter operation, and then we have 5, 6, 7. So even though we have a table that had data sets with contents from row 1 to 7, when we filtered, we removed from our view rows 2 to 4, and what we just have here is what we extracted. So that's what filtering is all about, and we just look at it like you've got a data set, and that data set is massive. It has lots of information, but what is of interest to you at a particular point in time may not be everything. So you use filtering to extract what is of interest. And this is something you do frequently in data analysis. This is what you do in data analysis. Remember the progression. We've looked at data entry, which is where you get your data in. We've looked at data formatting, which is where you study your data, study the formats. We've looked at styling, you study the style. And we've also looked at calculations, where you do some numeric calculations, maybe on the numeric columns of your data. Now we're looking at organization. Okay, so all of this is very important. Data entry, data formatting, styling, and all of that, and basic calculations, and then we work with our references, and then so let me see if I've missed anything. Okay, data entry and editing, basic formatting, basic calculations, and now we're looking at organization using tables. Okay, so we've looked at the filter, and so we have the text filters, we've worked on it, and then we also have number filters, so we can come over here and apply a number filter, and we can just come here and apply a filter. So we've got number filters here because it's a numeric column, and then we can say we want to find want to filter to find the entries that are less than, let's say they are less than 3,000, or let me say 2,000. Remember, I'm doing this on this should be the new column, I guess. Okay, so press OK, and there you go. There you go. So we've got 3. These are the ones that are less than 3,000 as defined by our filter. So I'm just going to come over here and then deselect this, cancel this to remove the filter. Oh, sorry, I'm still applying the less than. Okay, so I just do clear. All right. So I just clear and I've cleared the filter. Okay, so that's our number filters. And then we have date filters as well. We can come here and apply filters on our dates. And, you know, selecting, deselecting, we can apply our filter to extract what we need from our data sets. And then clearing filters, we've just seen that. Now, filtering versus deleting. When we filter, what we're doing is that we're extracting what we want. When we delete, it means we are erasing from our data set. So that's the difference. Okay, so filter sales for Japan only. So we've got Japan, and then we've got by the country. We can just come over here, select this, deselect all, select only Japan, and then we extract the sales from this just for Japan. So let me just select everything once again, and then filter for laptop sales. I'm going to allow you do that on your own. Remember that the link is going to be in the description and in the comments for you to download the data sets. Filter units greater than D. Um, Units, okay, greater than, okay, this should be a numeric value. That should be a mistake there. And then clear all filters. We can also clear all the filters that we apply so that we have the full view of our data set. So what does it mean? It means that you've got a massive data set, you've got a large data set. Now within that data set, you can extract, you can cut it and have different portions, different representations, different groups of the data set. And that's what you want to do. You want to be able to observe the different parts of your data set using different criteria, and then you use the filters. You use the filters. Okay, so next up, we're going to see how we can view our data. Part of how we organize our data is viewing it, and then freeze row, freeze top row. We've done that before. Okay, so what we're going to do is go over to our view, okay, view tab, and then we go to freeze panes, and then we can freeze the top row. Once we freeze the top row, you see the top row here is frozen. We can see that line, and then when we scroll, you see that as we keep scrolling, we see that our data, you see, as I keep scrolling or going down, we can see that the top row is frozen. It remains fixed, and then we can observe. Okay, so this is very useful when we've got large data sets and we want to be able to inspect by maintaining like the column head, like the column headers. Okay, so we can also freeze the first column. So we can come over here and then freeze the first column. Okay, I'm not sure if that's okay. So that's the first column over there. Sorry, we have our notes there. Okay, so this is freezing the first column. We can see that, and then we can scroll from left to right. And let me just unfreeze panes to unfreeze, and then freeze panes custom. Yes, so we can go to freeze panes, and then we can click on these freeze panes and then freeze according to where we currently, okay, so currently we were on column B, so we freezed column P. So we freezed column O, so you can see that. So let me just unfreeze. Okay, so depending on how we want our data to be represented or viewed, we can freeze. Okay, so we know when we need to freeze the header row or freeze a particular column or freeze the first two columns, and then we scroll to observe. So next up, we're going to look at duplicates. So duplicates are when we have more than an entry in our data set. So our duplicates can be when we have maybe either across a row, so a row is completely repeated, or we have a column, certain values within that column are repeated. That's what we mean by duplicates. So sometimes we don't want duplicates. Sometimes we don't want duplicates, and so we would have to find a way of removing them. So we can remove our duplicates. We have that feature in Excel, and then we can preview our results. And then, okay, so we're going to work on our data sets 6B. Okay, so I'm going to work on our data sets 6B. So let me just copy it. So these are data set here. Remember, like I said, this will be available for you. So we've got our data set here, and so identify duplicate employee records. Okay, so let me just move this. Remember, when you click once, you select, and then you can drag. So you see, by now we should be experts in this. So let's see if we have duplicate employee records. This is employee records data sets and employees. Okay, here we have Lucas. Okay, he's in finance department, he's an analyst, and he started 5th of March 2019. So we see the repetition there. And so we're going to see how to remove based on the employee ID. Okay, so we don't want the repeated name and start date. Okay, so let's see what's going to happen. All right, so now this is the original data set here. So let me just copy it and paste it here, kind of, so that we're going to see original and final. Now let's see. Let's do conditional formatting. Conditional formatting is a way we can inspect duplicates. So I'm going to come over to home, and then I'm going to the conditional formatting tab, and I go to highlight cell rows, and I click on duplicates. And can you see that? I'm just going to go with the light red. Can you see the duplicates? Even though the employee IDs were different, we can see that all other data are the same. So this is how we can view duplicates. Now, how do we remove duplicates? We select this, and then we come over to data, and then we click on remove duplicates. Okay, so remove duplicates, and then we're going to do it based on, so I'm just going to remove the employee ID and based on the other data, and you can see. So now this is the final data. Okay, the duplicates have been removed. We've got one row out, and this is the original data. So we can compare the results. All right, so now choosing the right columns matters because the employee IDs were different, but all other data was the same. So it's important that we interpret it properly. And then we'll look at data validation, which is the last thing that we are going to do today. So we're just going to look at it very quickly. So for data validation, I'm just going to do something here. So say we want to build like an attendance data set. We want to build an attendance data set. And we've got Monday, we've got Tuesday, we've got Wednesday, and then I'm just going to fill it down. So these are the valid dates. Maybe it just stops at Saturday. And here I want to have a column for day and another column for staff. Now I'm going to do data validation by putting only what is required here. So I select all of this. Let's say I want to do the attendance for this range. So I select it and I go to the data tab and I go to data validation. Okay, so you have to hover times. Okay, this is data validation. So I click on this, and then I'm not going to allow any value. Rather, I'm going to allow a list, and then my source, I'm going to specify over here. So this is my source, and then I click on this. So what happens is that I'm going to have this drop down from which I can select. Okay, so I'm going to have this for which I can select. And it's only going to allow me to select what is valid. Assuming I come here and I typed Monday wrongly, remember, I mistakenly added 1 and I press enter. You see, it's going to give me this error. This value doesn't match, and then I can retry. It's only going to accept what I have allowed. So this is validating my data. I don't have Sunday in the list. So you see, it's not accepting it. It's only going to allow me. And this is very, very helpful. You can use it when you have a defined acceptable data in a particular range, and this can help you. Okay, so let me come over here and show you something else you can do. So you can also ensure that you're only going to allow whole numbers or dates or different times or different types of data sets. And then you can also come and have your list as just, let's say, Ade, Fred, and Isha. So that's my list there. And then you see, I only have those options. So this is data validation, very helpful when it comes to data entry. So these are things you can explore to make your data analysis and working with Excel much better, efficient, accurate. Okay, so we've looked at drop-down lists. We looked at we also saw the option of restricting numbers, and then we saw the error messages. And this is an exercise for you to do. It's an exercise for you to do to try out data validation, and that's because we have to round up this session immediately. All right, common errors to avoid: sorting a single column only, like we saw. So we should avoid that. Deleting filtered data unintentionally. We saw the difference between filtering and deleting. We should avoid that. Removing deep duplicates without copying data. That's also something to avoid so you don't lose your data. Data is precious in when it comes to data analysis. When it comes to Excel, you should have control over your data and you shouldn't lose your data unnecessarily. Using merge cells, okay. And then for the wrap up, this is what we've done today: tables, sorting, filtering, freezing panes, data validation. And in our next module, we're going to look at logical and conditional functions. All right, so we've come to the end of today's live session. And like I said, this video will be available on the channel for you to watch. I want you to share. I want you to share. I want you to like as well. So this, if this video has been helpful, I want you to like. I want you to comment. I want to see your comments. I want to see the feedback. I want to know how you have benefited from the video in terms of your experience of Excel. Excel is very important. It's very useful in most of our professional careers. Okay, so people use Excel across different fields, and Excel is powerful. It has lots of features and commands. The more of them you know, the more you'll be able to work with your data more efficiently. So Excel is about data, it's about life. Okay, so we use data for all the things we do, and that's why we have this course on coding keywords, introduction to Excel, to guide you into being perfected in Excel. Okay, so if you've used Excel a lot, this can be a refresher course for you. If you are new to Excel, we are covering the basics, and trust me, what we cover today is so essential, especially for things like data analysis. So once again, my name is Dr. Achunu. I'm the lead instructor at Coding Keywords, and here at Coding Keywords, we cover a wide range of areas in tech to help you transition into tech. So we have courses and lessons on Python, on data analysis, on Excel, on Canva, coming up soon, machine learning. We've got, so thank you once again for joining this live session. And next live session, we're going to continue with our formulas. We're going to look at the if and conditionals. Looking forward to seeing you. Thank you very much, and bye.